Hey, how you doing? It's Tony Freakin Fonte. Got a great message for you today. Got a great conversation I get to share with you today from Miss Sandy Tomey, the love luminary, who's a spiritual relationship coach. She shares how she got into this, what it actually means, and how it's important to understand relationships now more than ever while we're in this lockdown, house arrest, quarantine, coronavirus craziness right now. So I'm going to shut up and dive right into the message so that you can get right to the good stuff. Here we
go. Hey, you are listening to the Laughing Through Life podcast. I'm your host, Tony Freakin Fonte. How you doing? So this podcast is the place that you want to be if you want to love deeper, you want to live fully, and you want to laugh more. Oh, and by the way, you want to have a ton of fun along the entire journey. This is where you need to be to do that. And we share, and I have guests on that allow you to give you the tools necessary so that you can laugh more, so that you can love deeper, so you can live fully and laugh all the way through the journey, even when life seems like it's falling apart. Because it's easy to laugh and easy to have fun when things are going well. But when shit hits the fan, it's not so easy. But I have figured it out. I teach other people how to do that. And I bring amazing guests on, like this guest that I have today, Miss Sandy Tomey, who's absolutely amazing at what she does. She's a spiritual dating relationship coach for singles and couples. Absolutely amazing the work she does to help take in and get those blocks that are holding you back from having the love you want, the relationships that you want, and the life that you want. She helps you find those blocks, heal those blocks using gifts that she has, the tools that she has, so you can live your best life, live with your soulmate, to strengthen relationships and marriages, and have relationships the way they were intended in the beginning. So I'd like to welcome Miss Sandy Tomey. Sandy, how you doing?
I'm great, Tony. Thank you so much. Wow, what a fabulous introduction. Thank you.
I just spoke what was coming to me. So you gave me the like your title, right? But then the rest just came. It's like, hey, this is how I envision and how I feel it. So let's just go with it.
Awesome. Beautiful. Thank you.
Because I think that's the truth of what you do.
Absolutely. More true than I possibly have ever said it myself. So thank you.
Well, there you go. So you can have the recording and to take that down and say, hey, I need to write that down so I can actually have this.
It's true.
So I am so blessed and honored to have you on the show to share your inspiration, to share your spiritual truths, to share your gifts and how you help people do that. Because we are in a time right now with this whole coronavirus pandemic. So some people may be listening years down the road and going, oh yeah, I remember that. But this is a time right now where we are shifting into a place of love. Mm-hmm. And how amazing is it that before this really took place and we started getting quarantined, that I reached out to you and said, hey, I'd love to have you on the show. And it happened to be right in the middle where it's scheduled out. We had no idea this was going to happen, but nothing happens by coincidence, right?
No. Divine timing all the time.
Yes. And I'm feeling the tingles, energy moving right now as we're saying that, because we are in a time where we need to love more. We're called to love because we are love, but we're called to love more. And I'm honored to have you on. I've said you're honored. I'm honored a million times now because I am. But to have you on to share love and how to get to love, how to open to love. Because we're in a place of chaos right now and it feels like life is falling apart. But it's because we feel like we're falling apart on the inside. And you share how to bring the pieces back together and really love yourself on a deeper level, to love outside on a deeper level. So I don't want to talk too much more. I want to really get you going. And I'd love to know how you got on to the spiritual path of doing spiritual coaching and relationship coaching for singles and individuals. How did you just share your journey on your spiritual path, your relationship of love, to be able to do what you're doing and sharing your gifts, your amazing gifts to be able to do that, because you have a lot of spiritual gifts that you use to help couples and individuals do this. So please share with us how you do that. And then
Okay. Thank you. So, it is a sacred journey. It's a sacred journey for all of us. I'll try to keep it in a bit of a nutshell. I like to say mostly it all opened up for me through my divorce. So my marriage to my first husband, I was married to him for 15 years. Up until that time, I had a pretty wonderful, idyllic life, a good growing up in a good Catholic family. And we had abundance and fun and not a lot of trauma and not a lot of difficulty in my life. And yet I never really knew what I wanted to do when I grew up. I never really had a sense and a calling of the work I was supposed to do, mainly because I never really saw what my true calling was, quite honestly, because it didn't exist. It never really existed back, until this time right now in the past 10 years. And was very heavily into retreats in my church. As I said, grew up Catholic, a very strong Catholic family. But more than the dogma that they taught was the love that was inside. I have a beautiful aunt that is a mercy nun, and she would always put her hands on my heart, and she'd always remind me that Jesus was right here, and strong, powerful women in my family that were doing wonderful, amazing leadership work as much as they could in their areas of influence. So I had an incredible upbringing in that I never really was, I just kind of took for granted, I guess. And then when I got divorced, I'll be honest, Oprah was really big at that time, living your best life. And that really just set me in. I had also was 40 at that time and set me into a trajectory of really deeply going within and listening to those yearnings and those spirit calls. When everything in your life crumbles, you are forced with a decision to curl up in a ball and do nothing, or dig in deeper and learn what you need to learn. So it was that learning of, that journey then of hiring my own first life coach at the time, going to massage school and learning the physical healing that I needed. That's when I opened up to this energy healing. Back at the time, the energy healing was new and people really didn't understand it that much. They are more open to it now. So it brought that to me as I continued to learn and grow. I've loved the field of coaching and helping walk with people side by side and focusing them on their journey because it had helped me so much in my life. Not really from an authoritarian directive place. Coaching is really being that spiritual director for people, that they all their truths that they have are within them. They're locked in the fun that they have. They're also locked in the pain that they have. All of the answers lie within our emotions and our feelings and our connection to the divine. And that is my calling and my gift, to help people unlock all of that, get really deeply in touch with that, so that they can find the love of their life. So, more to the story and more why I am being called to do this work. As I went out and dated again, I got into like the whole Abraham and law of attraction and realizing our thoughts create our reality. And what did I want? So the second part of my program I walked through myself is like, okay, what do I want? I have needs. I can pretty much order up from the universe what I want. What do I really want my partnership to look like? What do I want my life to look like? And through those tools, vision boarding and prayer and noticing synchronicities and having your team and everybody, on board with you to do that, I met and manifested the love of my life in Steve, the first love of my life. I'm going to say that now, in Steve. And we spent 8 amazing, incredible years together, traveling, and he was a teacher for me and learning. He loved the earth, and he loved taking students out in nature and giving them these experiences that they never would have had. And I thought that we were going to, the work that we're called to do in this world right now, right where you and I are, I thought he was the one that was going to be here in the physical plane with me in order to do that, because it just seemed, to my opinion, that was like perfect, right? Well, that wasn't what his soul contract was. His soul contract was actually, as I realize now, to not be here on this physical plane. He died of cancer in 2017. And he is now the spiritual partner in spirit form, helping me and still inspiring me to do the work that I am here on this planet to do. I learned so much from him, but his passing as well was another fire that I needed to go through, and surrendering to all that is, to do this work in the world. And, to bring it to now, when after that happened, I did my healing and I healed my heart again and nurtured my soul, and putting all those practices for single women that I teach, re-envisioning, reimagining my life another time, and calling in my next partner, my lifetime partner, another love of my life, my soulmate. And he, I believe, is here with me now, and the man that I'm dating. So
I love that.
You got to walk your talk. It's an affirmation for me, because of all the experiences that I have been through, that this is the work that I'm called to do. And the tools are so very, very helpful and valuable for the clients that I work with.
Awesome. And I feel the emotion and energy with that, which is you're speaking that. It's not only energy between us connecting with that, but it's my own energy, because we've talked prior. Actually, we talked a long time and realized that, holy crap, the time just went by, and we probably should have been recording then. And I say that a lot when I have guests, because I like to talk, for one, and two, I love connecting and just love opening up. And this is why I love the conversational format. I don't like it freaking scripted. I don't like having this set questions out there, because I think it takes away from the authenticity of it and the realness of it. And so what I loved, and when we were talking about before we even got on and started recording and really doing this interview, is what you said with Steve is that he is now your spiritual partner, guiding you. So
Yes.
The relationship didn't end. There was physical death, but we know death is an illusion, because we just move over. And yes, I'm still walking through the whole process of the fear of death. And that's part of what I'm experiencing now, because we do that every time we change. And with my wife, who died 9 years ago, when you said that, it's like there's a spiritual partnership now. It's just different. He's guiding you. My wife is guiding me. She's here but on the other plane. Her contract wasn't to continue to walk with me
Right.
on this physical plane. Steve wasn't here to continue to walk with you on this physical, but he's on the other side doing the work.
Correct.
Where they both have the ability, the power to really guide, because they were limited here.
They were.
And now
they were
free.
Yep.
They're free to do that, and they're teaching us how to be free and how to do this work with this whole transition that we're going on. And that just hits home with me. It's like, she's my spiritual partner, because I feel her more as I've done my own inner work. But I wrote down a lot here, because you shared a lot of different things, talking about, sacred journey. We all have a sacred journey, and we all have the answers and truth within. And we're taught that that everything is outside of us. The God's outside of us, Jesus outside of us, divine's outside of us. And that's not the case. That it's all inside of us. And that's what Jesus was really teaching us. It's all within. We're already within. We're already connected. But the ego, and not with this pride and I'm better than everybody ego, it's the egoic mind that creates the separateness. It's the ego that says that you can't do certain things. It's the ego that has all these patterns and beliefs that are passed on from ancestor, society, and generational. It says tries to say who we are, and that we're separate, and that everything's outside of us, and you got to go a certain thing. And it's not on a religious standpoint where you got to have a mediator to go.
Right.
Where we are the mediator.
Right.
Going within and just seeking that. But there's one thing you said, and I want you to really dive in on it, especially in this time. There's a lot of pain going on. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of uncertainty in this unknown that we're going in, which the unknown can be scary, because it's unknown for me. It's like stepping into the unknown. It's like I've watched Frozen 2 with my daughter, and holy crap, Disney is very spiritual. I had no idea. So I start really watching it, and I've wakened myself up. And it's stepping into the unknown, that power that we are.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to do that, we actually have to feel the pain.
We do.
We've been in a society for so long, hustling and grinding, money, status, this and that.
Yes.
To make up for the pain. And we think it's like we don't have this pain because we totally just put it and repress and suppress and stay distracted. Right. Now we're being forced. Woo!
On a global scale, we are, when you think about where are we? We are in our homes. Our homes are our sanctuary. We can no longer run and hide. We can no longer run to work. We can no longer run to the sports teams. We can no longer run away. It's time to go within. And as you know, that's the beauty of this, is that we're being asked to do that. I say, let's spread the love virus, right? Because of course we see all the wonderful things that, the people are going out and helping, and that's a wonderful thing. But I think the real gift of this is our ability to go within. And it's going to be very, very scary for a lot of people and a lot of families.
It's loving thyself first.
Yes.
You can't truly, I don't even know why I said loving thyself that way. That's just the way it came out. Because it was the way it's supposed to. But because you can't fully love another person or another thing until you love yourself. And I know that, and I feel that on the deepest level, because that's one of the things that we talked about this, and I'm very open with it. One of the things I've struggled with is love. Because I've been hurt. I've gone through death. I've had pain in my childhood, right? But I've been able to laugh through it all and have this comedy piece to it. And I'm learning to really bring the spiritual truths, but it's about loving yourself first. And this is what is making us do that. And yes, I mean, because people are pretty much losing their minds. Well, they are losing their minds because they're being forced to go in. They're like, oh my gosh. And I love it. You said it. Our home is our sanctuary.
Yes.
But right now, there's a lot of people who are feeling it as it's not. It's like it's the devil's den.
Right.
That's what they feel
jail.
Like.
Right? Is it your jail or your sanctuary,
because
right?
Now they are forced to deal with all that pain. Now they are forced to be with themselves. I used to be so scared to be alone with my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I used to suffer from depression years ago.
Okay.
And I used to drown it with alcohol. And, I dabbled in drugs a little bit because I didn't want to feel it. I had to be around people. I wanted to party. Because I didn't want to be alone, because I was having fun, and you look like I was having fun. People are like, I never knew you were depressed. I'm like, I didn't want people to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want people to feel the pain that I felt. And there's so many comedians that we have on a famous level, and the one that always comes to mind is Robin Williams.
Right. Hiding. Right.
Genius. That dude was amazing, the funniest guy, but he even said himself, I want other people to laugh because I don't want people to feel my own pain.
Wow.
And ultimately, he ended his life. And there's so many people struggling. I was that guy.
Yeah.
That had so much pain, but I was put here. I came here to break those cycles.
Mm-hmm.
But now the divine is forcing people
to
break those cycles because it's done.
Right.
This is the reemergence of the life. So you were about to say something.
So all pain, in order to be released, needs to be witnessed with love. Needs to be seen, needs to be heard, needs to be validated and witnessed with love. And not all of our spouses and our family members and our things like that are able to do that for us. And that's why it is so hard at this time, because they're in their little ball of pain, their pain body, and we're in our pain body, and our pain bodies are all just bumping up against each other right now. So now is the time. There are so many coaches out there, counselors, that this is what our calling is to do, and our training is to do, is to help witness your pain and help you release it, so that you can go back and be that leader and that guide for your family. Be that leader and that guide for your partner. Be that healthy person, right? And as if two people are healthy enough, they can, through working with me in the work that I do with my couples as well, I teach them to be that for each other. But they first need someone witness that in themselves, that can hold that sacred space enough for them to be with their pain and to feel it.
Mm.
And it's not an easy thing, right? It's not an easy thing. It's scary. It's going to bring up a lot of stuff, but it doesn't have to be. I always like to say, if we can bring a little bit of fun and a little bit of levity to that too, it doesn't have to feel like the end of the world, even though to some people it does feel like the end of the world. Now, to be fair, the deeper the pain, really probably a trained therapist or counselor is going to be the best one to reach out to now at this time. But if you feel called to a certain coach or myself or Tony or anybody that you're with right now, because the way they hold the transformation from pain to love resonates, then they're trained also to do that, right? Where we are trained to help people move and shift through the transformation from fear to love.
But it's about that energetic resonance. And I love that you said that, the energetic resonance, because if someone's resonating with you, that's the person that's going to be guiding you. And I would like to add to that too. So you're talking about the deeper the pain, maybe you need a therapist or a counselor or something along those lines, right? But I also say that there's a lot of times, depending on how severe it is, that you can work side by side with a therapist.
Yes.
And you can have both, because they're working on the deeper stuff and you're going to work on the other stuff. And it's actually going to speed up the healing, because I've done that a few times. Like, look, you got some deeper stuff, go over here, because they are highly trained in that. And I'm not, and it takes a lot more work to do that, but I can help you with this. And then
some of the best outcomes for some of my clients that were where I thought had a lot going on, worked with me and with a therapist, and the transformation was a lot quicker and a lot more helpful, because we need help, and this is where we are Jesus to each other, right?
Yes.
Meditating is powerful, and that's certainly an important part of it, because you're listening to the divine, and you're listening to yourself.
Yes.
But that communication and being that witness to each other, that's also a very, very important part. That's just as important. So both of those things really need to happen, and the community support around that, which we're seeing amping up in so many wonderful ways right now as well.
Yes. And I want to say this, and because you inspire me for another question to ask you, as a lot of people will serve other people, right? Feel better in love, but they fail to do that for themselves. And I've seen in some people, like, they'll give and give and give and give, but they have a hard time receiving. And I actually had to call someone out on this in a loving way, but I had to do it in a very stern to get his attention. And I said, look, you are denying me giving you a gift of love.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to receive it. You want to give, but you're not allowing me to give you. And you're denying me that ability. And he goes, holy crap, I didn't see it. And I said, here's why you're doing it. Because you don't feel worthy and deserving of love and giving. I was like, you have to figure that piece out. You got to do the work. So people try to use helping and serving other people, which is good, but it still distracts them from their own pain. So we don't have to have addiction in the sense that there's drugs or alcohol or sex, or shopping or whatever. There's our jobs. There's actually serving people can be a distraction. Just doing positive thinking. Just doing positive thinking can be a distraction. I was that guy too. I got to be positive all the time instead of dealing with my own shit. And then you ultimately hit a wall. Look, it can be very painful as we go within and deal with this pain. It can be, but it won't last as long. Think about it. You've been living your whole life, or however old you are right now, holding on to this pain. Mm-hmm. It's manifesting in other ways, whether it's in your relationships, whether it's in your health, skin, however it is, it's showing up. You just got it. You're like the frog in boiling water, or it's actually warm water. It's the water is just slowly being heated up until you boil and die. That's exactly what's happening on, where you can just speed it up, die right now, in not in the physical sense, but die to that old self, and that's what's happening right now. We're seeing this. But the question I had for you that you said is going within and dealing with the pain, and actually loving the pain, sending love to the pain. How does someone do that when they're struggling with loving themselves? Or is that a sign of self-love by being present and giving love to that pain?
That is it. It's being present to it. this is the inner work that can be done on a solo basis, right? Is knowing that now is the time that we really don't have to do anything else in the world except take care of ourselves and maybe take care of our families. But in the time that you would go to work, or if you're really at home, go within, go take a walk in nature and really sit and get present with that pain. What is that pain costing you? How are you benefiting from the pain? If you're, that the logical brain, do a cost benefit analysis of the pain. Where is it serving you? And how's it costing you? And really get clear on that and look at that and feel it and feel it and feel it. I think you had said earlier, and I know I have, you cry. I know so many people that don't want to cry because they're afraid that they're never going to stop crying. And I'm sorry that I get that thought, but that actually you will stop crying. But that is your body's emotional release for you to feel what you have been feeling. And, that's just the stuff that's kind of on the surface, right? The surface stuff that we're aware of. There's a lot of stuff that's underneath our awareness that's a little bit deeper. And, that's, I think, where you also need somebody who it is their mission and their calling, and they're trained to do this deeper work with. But don't be afraid of it, and allow whatever is coming up during this time to come up with kindness and love. Be kind to yourself.
That's the self-love. So just sitting with it is a form of self-love. Yes, you have your family to take care of, but we spent years sacrificing ourselves, and we were never meant to sacrifice. Never. Mm-hmm. Because if you are not taking care of yourself, then you're nothing to no one else, and you cannot fully show up for your kids or your husband or your wife. You can't.
Right.
So right now is a perfect time to take some time to heal. And like you said earlier, you said something about everybody's pains coming up, so they're clashing, and now they're in the home and they're clashing. And you can't change other people.
Correct.
We try to say, oh, you're offending me, you got to do this, and you hurt my feelings here. No, you're choosing to be hurt because you have your own inner pain. You have these expectations on. You're choosing to be offended because you have something deeper inside. You want other people. And we see this in government. We see this in everything. Everybody wants trying to control the outside world. And now that they can't control the outside world, there's a bunch of chaos. The only thing you can control is you and how you respond and how you react, and realize that everything is a mirror. Everything in the outside world is a mirror for us. And every person is a mirror of a reflection of how we feel on the inside. And we got to go within. We got to understand you can take this and not do anything with it, and you can continue on the path you are.
Right.
There's a seed here. Everything, like you said earlier, thoughts create our reality. Everything has an energetic vibrational frequency. Quantum physics has proven this. When you go into it, everything is energy. Whether you're religious, whether you're non-religious, whether you're spiritual, whether you're in science only, energy. Energy is energy, whether you call it the divine, whether you call that spirit, whether your soul, it's all the same.
Right.
But however you connect on your path and journey right now, it doesn't matter.
Right.
That's energy.
Right.
Everything. Science has proven you can have a thought, and they put brain waves up to it, and they can get the frequency from that. Everything.
Right.
And then prayer or frequency, when you send out something, you have to be in a vibrational connection to receive back. So if something's not being answered, it's because you are blocking it.
Right.
It's your energy. And this is a perfect time to step aside and take some time for yourself, to show self-love, to really dive into yourself, because you can't change anybody else, but you can change them by changing yourself. Because your energy, as it shifts, as your vibration rises, is going to affect other people. It's happening right now on a global scale, and we're not having anything to do with it, really.
Right. And to your point about energy, Tony, there's frequencies, and there's things that can judge that for us that we may not all have access to. I do have access to an energy leadership tool, an assessment that will give you on a scale between 1 and 7 different levels of energy where you fall with your thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, and perceptions right now, and what that means for you. So how much energy are you bringing in the kind of upper anabolic levels, anabolic meaning uplifting and life-giving growth, growing and thriving, feeling and loving. And how much energy are you giving to the fear and the doubt and the worry and the feeling like a victim and things like that? And that's the real tipping point, I think, that everybody's feeling is the people that feel victimized or at call, like that this is happening to me. And then there's the people that are, how is it happening for me? And that's where I start with all my clients, is that tool, so they can find out exactly where their energy is in this. And we'll make a plan for shifting them so that they can feel more joy and love and in that flow. Because we all have those energies, even though we might be completely in fear right now and completely frustrated and scared and maybe even angry. We all have those access to those levels of finding the win-win and service, and all the way up to the top, which is those of us that realize that we kind of planned all this, right? That's all evolving and unfolding as it is. And so I really love that tool, the energy leadership assessment. In my dating, I call it how likely you are to find the love that you truly want.
I was getting ready to ask, is that the tool that you use? It shows you how open you are, how open your heart center is to really attract the love that you're wanting. So this is that tool.
It's the same tool. It is the same tool. I use it in a love and relationship realm. Executive leadership coaches all over the world are working with high-level executives to find this so that they can lead from that high anabolic place as well.
Which
true
is
love leadership.
Love is leadership is love. It's love. It's just
yes.
However you word it, and it's just a shift on how that is, because that's really what it is. Because leadership is about serving. So I love that you, because as you were sharing this tool, I'm like, is this the tool that she uses that shows how open you are to receiving love? No matter what you're thinking consciously, I want love, I desire love, because come on, I've been there, right?
Right.
And it's like, but it's not coming.
Right. Because it's all those mental things, those thoughts, beliefs, attitudes, perceptions, that programming that we have had from little on. And if you've lived your life completely unaware of it, you're just living your life. And so this brings awareness to what some of that programming really is and gives you a choice on whether you want to shift it or not. Nobody ever has to shift if they don't want to. But I think you and I are both, and every person I've ever worked with, proactively doing it makes all the difference, because we can choose to say, okay, let's go forward and let's create a better life and let's bring more love into our lives. It's a whole lot more, it's a little bit easier than doing it, waiting till shit really hits the fan and being forced into it, which is where everybody is right now.
That exactly where everybody is right now. And some people are like, Tony, how are you not freaking out? I said, because I've been preparing for this for several years now.
Exactly.
Because the fear that's going on has nothing to do with the virus. People think it's the virus, but it's really not. It's the fear of not living. They're like, oh my gosh, what did this happen? It's because now they're having to deal with their inner fear, their inner pain. Do I still have fear come up? Yes, we talked about that.
Right.
Oh shoot, like I had it come up last night. The fear of what if I get it? And I'm like, oh, it's the fear of me losing control. It has nothing to do with the virus.
Right.
None of this does. This spreading of it has nothing to do with it, quote unquote, being contagious. We think from this standpoint of science here in the Western world that that's how everything works, but that's how we've been living this and keep going on. That's how we get stuck in this vortex of fear, continuing fear and control through fear. Mm-hmm. That's really what's going on. It's going to control through fear. When you step back and say there's more tools out there, understanding that it's not so much the contagious aspect of a virus. And I have experience in this. My daughter can get a virus and I don't get it.
Right.
And that's happened, or I'll get something and she doesn't get it.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with you being exposed because you're in the same thing. It's where you are and where you're focused on, where your energy is. Right. And this damn virus is morphed because of the collective fear. There's a lot of people that don't want to get it. Oh, it's just logic. You got to there's no emotion, there's logic. I go, there's emotion in everything, including logic.
Right. And your emotions are driving your attitudes, which filter down physically in your body, right? So I think the more that you have this level of self-love, you know what? You exercise more. You eat more fruits and vegetables. You don't eat a lot. You don't drink a whole lot. You might drink a little bit, but all of those things that we know bring physical health often go hand in hand with the emotional health. So it's both and in those instances, right? And all the like some of the all the fast food, all the processed food, all of that, right? We're coming back into our homes, hopefully with an opportunity to eat healthier. I would love to see everybody go out and get more fruits and vegetables at the store as well, because that's going to bring that life energy into our bodies that we need right now. And our bodies and our emotions and our feelings, all of that are important. They really are important.
Yes. So it's about really connecting the physical, the mental, and the emotional. So
Yes.
like I use the story, it's like, oh, like I hear all these times like, oh, you got to train your mind to be stronger than your emotions. I'm like, no, you got to learn to work them together. I said, because you know what? That's not true. And mainly men, right? Men go, you got to have this mental toughness. You got to do this and you got to put the emotions out of the way. And this is why they're so toxic in a sense and so disconnected. And this is really cool because this is a really great precedent of time where women are like, we are done with men who are not connected emotionally. Yes. Whether they're very conscious of it or not, women are like, no, I don't want that. I want a man who I can connect with. Because why do women, and by the way, this is stuff my daughter's taught me. So, and this is why I'm like, someone called me the wife whisperer one time. Because you hear like, I don't understand women. When you hear men say that all the time, I don't understand women. Women are crazy. Women are this, or just like, I don't get them. They're emotional and we're not. I'm like, no, we're all emotional. We just act like we're not.
Yeah.
The reason why women connect is because women connect on an emotional level, and they're done with the men not being emotionally connected. It's like you gotta connect with the emotions. You gotta. It's okay to freaking cry.
Yes.
And it's okay. That's how you find freedom and releasing that is by connecting to your emotion. It's okay. It's not weakness. That's actually strength.
Yes.
I joke around and say I'm a big ass crybaby now because I got a lot of healing and work I'm going through. And there's times all of a sudden I'll just start crying out of nowhere. Well, it depends on the energy and the atmosphere too in the universe, but it depends on how it is because it's creating a purge. That's how we purge the pain. But you got to sit with that pain. You said this earlier. So you got to sit with that pain, and it's so hard. We've been so conditioned over centuries and over ancestors and generations. Don't feel pain. Don't feel pain. And this is why you see people say, "Oh, I'm Italian. I have a bad temper." I'm Italian, and I joke around that in my comedy skits. It's like I'm Italian. It's like that's just bullshit. It's generational stuff. It's the same stuff being passed on.
Right.
That's
and women and men have to take responsibility for that, right?
Absolutely.
So men, of course, they have, but because it is, there's no crying in baseball and all that. But women too, we're shifting now and realizing as we're raising our sons to be more emotionally present. And there's nothing more beautiful to me and a lot of women that I know than a man who really expresses his emotions. Don't be afraid of it, men. Please don't be afraid of it. It's the key and the access thing to everything that every deep feeling and every physical thing you want to do. Feel your emotions, and you will be so surprised and shocked.
Yes, and I've had many, many, many women tell me there's nothing more sexy than a man who connects with his emotions, who is awakened.
Yes.
Who is like, they don't care what job you have, what money you have on a deepest level. If a woman is more worried about that, she's got her own healing to do.
Correct.
I'm learning that. They don't care about all that stuff.
Right.
They feel safe. And it's not from a physical standpoint. Again, my beautiful daughter has taught me this. I've learned so much from this girl. Ladies and gents, you can learn so much from your kids. Open up. Because don't put the veil down on them with your own conditioning. Allow them to teach you without that veil. Because my daughter, she's still healing some of the pain when I was this toxic, abusive guy. But our relationship now is absolutely amazing because I've opened up to her, and I'm feeling emotion right now just talking about it. I'm trying to be funny here, but she's taught me so much about what a woman needs.
Mm.
and allowing me to heal my divine masculine
Mm.
and get back to what we are intended to. And this is what's going on with this pandemic, is this shift, allowing that to happen and not being afraid of being emotional, be considered weak, that your wife, your spouse, your living other is going to think less of you. They are going to connect deeper with you. I'm telling you, women want, I mean, they're like, that is freaking sexy to see a man to be able to do that. They don't care whether you can physically provide. Yeah, we have those aspects, but it's not always up to the man. This is something that's been in the patriarch, that's been passed down.
Mm-hmm.
When you open up to yourself, it just flows. Purpose flows to you. Abundance flows to you. Everything. But you got to connect with yourself, connect with the divine. Then you're able to connect with your spouse and really open up to that. They will feel safe from an emotional level. That's how they build trust. You can confirm this. Sandy, can you know this?
Absolutely. That is the essence of trust, right? And you mentioned the divine masculine and the divine feminine, right? A woman, we do oftentimes have more access to our emotions than men do, just because of the way our brain is wired. But women do not expect men ever to have the level that we have. We just want to see, well, just what's true for you, right? We love the differences. We love the chemistry and the differences and all that. But it's, in the work that I do with my clients, it's like, there's requirements and things that you need, but there's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. I really think if you have an emotional connection with someone, it is so much more powerful than almost all the other ones, because we're so craving it right now. I think in the end, they all have to be equally important. But right now, that is what we as a society are learning, to really emotionally connect. We're all in our houses. You know what? We are emotionally connecting now, are having opportunities more than anything. And we realize it's not necessarily the physical proximity that happens. It's our willingness to be open and vulnerable and have these conversations and really share from the heart.
And so connecting emotionally right now, what's happening is allowing us to build this mental toughness, this mental discipline. It's not training your mind to be strong in your emotions. It's about dealing with the pain, letting go of the trauma that allows the mental side to do that. Because we think about mental illness, it's because of the emotional stuff that hasn't been dealt with, that we haven't really dived into. But it's scary. You said it earlier. It's scary to go into that pain because it keeps,
right.
Oh my gosh, am I ever going to stop? What's going to happen? Am I going to die?
Right. A lot of people, yes, that's it. You think you're going to die if you feel your feelings.
But you, in a sense, you are. Because this has been my journey, being afraid of death. But every time we change and evolve and we grow, we are dying. That's the ego dying, pieces of it. And as you dive into your emotion, you are connecting with the divine. You are connecting with the spiritual side. And as you start peeling those layers, that wall back, you are connecting to your truest form at that moment, which is a divine spiritual being, which we're all intended here to do something with a purpose. But here's what I want to say, and I know we're going to come to an end here. Man, I could keep going forever with this stuff, because it's just so powerful and so amazing, sharing about love and sharing what you do about peeling those layers back. Is that, now I forgot what I was talking about. I do that sometimes too. But it's about, here it is. Relationships are not about two people coming together and saying, hey, you gotta fill this for me and you gotta fill this for me, because that's codependency and that's narcissism and that's just pain, asking for pain. It's about two whole and complete people coming together, enhancing the other person. It's like, hey, I'm an individual and I have this purpose and I have this life and I have this thing I'm going to keep doing. I'm not going to lose myself in you because I think that you got to fulfill this thing over here. And you're not going to do the same thing for me because you're a whole and complete person. But together, we are better to move in this world, to do what we were called to do, because we're doing this journey here together.
Yes.
And we are a team. We're a power couple. It's magical because we're here to enhance. You're going to make me feel uncomfortable, because relationships not about being comfortable all the time.
No, it's not.
But it's not supposed to be, because if you're comfortable all the time, you're dying. Right. But it's allowed to say, okay, triggering you to heal inside, not to freaking lash back out at the other person.
Right.
Say, oh shit, I got to work on this. I got something to heal. Occasionally you are going to fall and lash out, But as you become more awakened, as you become more aware, you catch it very quickly and go, damn, I just screwed up. Hey, I just yelled at you or lashed out at you, had nothing to do with you. And here's what's going on with me. And I just figured this out. It's my healing and I'm sorry.
Right.
And guess what happens there? Boom, you connect even greater there.
And that is a powerful tool that, none of us are going to be perfect in this, but if you just, when there is an outburst, go take some time alone and say, what was I really feeling in that? And there's, the main emotions, mad, glad, happy, and afraid, right? And scared. I mean, it's one of those. It's one of those things. And most of it is, I'm afraid that I'm not good enough. It's some version. I'm afraid that I'm not good enough. And I don't want you to see that. I don't want to feel it. I don't want anybody else to see it. So I'm going to do all these other things so that I can continue to hide that I'm afraid that I'm not good enough or capable or one of many other, different things. And this is the human condition. We all have this deep inside ourselves. So it's not like it's, oh my gosh, we all have that. And that's all the sacred journey is working through that, and coming so that you can have more closeness and connection and more enjoyable times and more fun times instead of letting all the ick and the muck that you're trying to push down and hide from coming up, because it's still a pile on the floor, right? It's still there. You can walk around it, whatever, or you can dig in and actually, get to work cleaning it up.
Yes, and I love that because it's always like, I got to be perfect before I get in a relation. I got to be perfect. I got to be this.
Yeah.
Which really, it's all about fear. It was all about fear for me, because I was afraid of being that old guy again.
Right.
But it boils down to, I got to be perfect because I don't feel deserving or worthy of it. We feel that, and we'll always have these feelings of unworthiness and deserving. It's part of the programming, but it's always designed to help us continue evolve, not hold us back. We put the walls up to hold us back. We put these blocks up to say, no, no, no.
Right.
I don't want this because I don't want to get hurt. But we have that. So, and I would even say this, that anger is actually a secondary emotion to fear.
Right.
Because when we're getting angry, it's because we're lashing out because we're afraid. And there's many times that I've gotten angry with my daughter and I realized, holy shit, there's a deeper fear in here that's going on. And it's the only reason I lashed out is because of this. Or sometimes it's angry because I'm angry at myself. Not necessarily a fear, but I'm angry at myself because I dealt with this. Yep. Like I used to get so pissed off if she lied to me. I couldn't stand lying. Why? Because I wasn't being real myself for so many years and I still held on to that damn story.
Mm-hmm.
And when I said, no, I'm shifting the story. I don't like lying, but I no longer lash out at her with it.
Yeah, because she was reflecting that back to you, and you knew down in your here you didn't like it about yourself either, and so you didn't like the reflection. She was reflecting you back to you, and you're like, I don't like that, right?
Because that's how I grew up. Because it's the same stuff. It's like when you're like, you offended me, you need to fix that. No, you need to heal why you're offended.
Right.
Because it's not someone else's responsibility to make you feel better. That's what we all do. We try to control the outworld. Now that I keep saying this, now that we've lost control, people are freaking out because now they can't control all this stuff. And they're trying to do that. And this is why they're hoarding. This is why they're doing it. Like, oh, people are just so greedy. It's like, no, they are fucking afraid.
Right. Right.
Is it make it right or wrong? No, it's just they're afraid. You can't hold judgment. If you're holding judgment, you're really holding judgment on yourself anyway.
Right.
Period.
Right.
You can take that or leave, and that's okay.
Right.
I'm not judging you on it. And I get caught up in some of this stuff too, but it's my own stuff. Going, oh my gosh, will you just listen?
Yeah.
People are trying to debate, and I'm like, no, I got to be right. Why do I got to be right? Because I got to prove myself because I don't feel worthy and I don't feel enough, and that's all my own stuff. So this is a great lesson for me too when I have all this stuff come up in me. But if we want to love more, and I want to wrap this up, we want to love more. We got to get back to the basics and love ourselves more.
Correct.
Go within. There's nothing outside of you that's going to complete you. Trust me, I went 40 years of my life trying to find it outside of me.
Right. Myself too.
You will never, ever be happy. But if you find the happiness and love within, you will have all the abundance, all the prosperity, all the
Right.
love flowing because you are it. It comes from being it first.
Mm-hmm.
We're always talking about, oh, you got to act this and this and you got to do this. No, be.
Just be with the
Be who
pain,
you
be with the
have.
difficult. Right. And you are, on the other way to say it is that we are all whole, perfect, and complete exactly as we are, even in the pain, even in the struggle, or in the brilliance, or everything that we are whole and perfect. We just don't, it's the realization of that
Yes.
that needs to shift. It's the only thing that needs to shift. We are already there. We just need to shift our awareness of it.
And I love that. It's about shifting from the ego and the separateness to realizing who we truly are, and just understand that, like I said, perfectionism, right? It's just that fear of not being enough, and feel that if I'm not perfect, I'm going to be judged and rejected. Whether my spouse or my significant other is going to judge me or whatever. It's not the case. Or even if you're looking and seeking that love,
right?
You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to feel like you're perfectly enough. And I am speaking to myself right the hell now. Is you don't have to be completely have the wall down. You don't have to completely feel like you're enough. You don't have to feel completely secure and confident.
Right.
Just have it
be
enough.
Willing. Just be
because
willing.
That person's going to help you heal. And just like you said to me earlier before we even started recording, Sandy, is like, Tony, you aren't you were intended to have someone on this physical plane work with you and guide with you and walk with you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're here to enhance each other's lives.
Yes.
And you just got to open up to it and let go of that fear, because that's really what it is. It's fear.
Yeah, it is. And I think so. That's kind of a message and a thing that I'm getting right now is in this time and this shift and change, for the single people that are out there that are desiring that love connection.
The single people.
Is the time. Now is really, really the time to connect. I'm going to be working one-on-one and doing group programs for even during this time that we are secluded. Now is actually even more powerful time, because the truth of who people are and what they really want is now. We're no longer saying we want all this other outside stuff. It's like we're really going to get down into the truth of who we are, and we can connect soul to soul. And that's what makes a powerful, wonderful, ideal partnership, is two souls that share the same dreams and visions and want to go side by side with each other in life. Core values and other things like that connect with each other. Law of attraction will bring us together, and the energy is higher now for that to happen.
And they all still have their own individuality. They're still
Correct.
doing their own purpose and their thing, but they're also connecting on a greater scale to really walk through this journey together, not inflicting expectations, because expectations is something that we've had from other relationships or past programming, trying to push it on somebody else. And it's not the case, but understand that when we have those, say, oh, why am I pushing this onto this person? Because it's nothing to do with them. Correct. And it's when you strip all that away, but it's never going to be perfect, but it's going to be perfect for you and this other person as you're walking through, because you are best suited. Again, I'm talking to myself as this is coming out of me.
Yes.
Best suited for each other to do this journey together, because they are best suited to help guide you, and you are best suited to guide them to their deeper healing and allow them that space. Because when we have these expectations, we cloud the other person's mind. And they can't find their own answers because they're clouded and they're so confused, because they feel that energy, and that energy is reflecting and contradicting back, and it's going back and forth. But when you allow them the space and say, hey, you do your thing. I'm going to work my ass off to open your heart. Because when a woman really gets in that space of, some of these are like, oh, I get crazy. I get crazy. It's not that they're crazy. It's that they closed off to love, and they need to be reopened up, and they want you to open up. It's not that they're lashing out in a way. It's like, I want to be opened up. Right. And then, but if they're not ready to be opened up on a subconscious level or unconscious level, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to do what I can to open your heart. I'm going to make you laugh or whatever, do something stupid because I'm good in my way, instead of lashing back out at you.
Right.
Because I'm not whole. I don't feel whole and complete, which I was that guy.
Right.
Acting like a big ass freaking toddler throwing a fit. And and I joke around that too. I was like, I'm a big ass toddler throwing on the ground like a 3-year-old, flopping around because I didn't get my damn way, or you didn't respond back a certain way. And it's just It's so stupid.
Here's
But
the
it's
story
like,
I'm telling myself and why I'm acting the way I'm acting, because I'm
yeah,
telling
but I
myself.
do that with Kylie when she's having her moments. She really wants to be open to love. It's like, it's like, oh, I know I'm loved, but I don't feel loved right now, and I got to feel it. She's like, I want a hug. I want this. I want that. Or she'll lash out at me.
Right.
And then I'll just say, okay, I'm going to let you, and I try to open her heart up, right?
Right.
And if she does start laughing or she gets more mad, I'm like, okay,
Right.
I'm going to let you have this for a moment.
If we can reframe everything that is like all the difficulty or the anger and all that, really as a bid for connection from our partner and our people and our family, it is a bid for connection. If we can reframe that and I can say, okay, she's being difficult right now. There's a bid for connection here. She has a need. He has a need that they may not even know what their need is, but they're needing something, i.e. love in some way. And once together you can find out what that is, let's talk about that need, let's ask for it, and then all that other stuff doesn't have to happen.
Exactly. So like there's times I got to step back because I'm like, what's going on? I don't want to talk about, okay, what I do is because I'm strong enough for myself now is I hold that space and say, okay, I'm here when you're ready. And you know what often happens is in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
Dad, I want a hug. Can I have a hug? I want to feel love, or I'm ready to talk about what's going on. Okay. Instead
Beautiful.
of trying to push and push because we feel insecure and we try to push that on, it's like, no, I'm going to hold space because when you step back and say, that's your stuff,
yeah,
nothing to do with me.
Yep.
But the only way we can get to that's your stuff is when we deal enough with our own stuff.
Right.
Get to that power of that's not me. And if I do get triggered, it's okay, I got something to heal on this, but that has nothing to do with me. And then there's times she gets mad at me because I start laughing because I'm standing firm in myself and I'm laughing. She's like, what? You're making me mad because you're laughing. I go, because it's funny. When you're mad, you're funny. But she wants me to be there. I'm like, nope, I'm going to allow you to have that.
Yeah.
And this is what my daughter's preparing me for my soulmate.
She is. Yes, she absolutely is. What a wonderful, wonderful relationship.
Freaking beautiful. It's magical. And I'm like, but I get scared. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. My daughter, it's in a different level, but she's preparing me.
She is.
Because she's showing me this and how I'm going to react when my soulmate is having her moments. And I can just go, I'm going to hold space for you. Or I can laugh. And it's like, you're being an ass right now. You're laughing at me. But she's also going on an unconscious level, spiritual level, going, damn, you're standing firm in who you are.
Yeah. And a wonderful example of how we can be teachers and students for each other, especially our children. My children have been my biggest teachers. And if we can just come in with how can my children teach me? How can my partner teach me? How can I learn? We want to be good students. We also want to be good teachers. And that's that for each and every single one of us. That's the beautiful dynamic.
I love that. And you just inspired something in me is don't hold so damn tightly to your beliefs.
That's right.
Open up to something new. Just because something doesn't resonate at that moment or you're like, well, that doesn't make sense to me. That's stupid or that's not true. Maybe it is true.
Don't go into judgment around it. I offer you, how can you be curious about it? How can you be curious? Wow, I'm noticing something that is you're thinking differently than I would think about. Can you tell me more about that? Can I understand? Help me understand where you're coming from. Help me understand why you're thinking the way you're thinking. That alone, if one tool, if you can institute that when things aren't going the way you want, you will shift a whole lot in your household.
And it's like, for me, for instance, like I used to hold on to my religious beliefs and be like, nope, not doing that, not doing that, not doing that. Whereas now they have completely unraveled, right? Because God in the universe is like, nope, here we go, boom. And it just starts. So, and that was like a huge death for me. It wasn't like this peaceful aha moment. We talked about that, right? It's like, oh, I'm not crazy. I'm not dying. I feel like I'm dying. Whereas now when someone tries to share something with me and I'm like, I feel this resistance. Like, you know what? I'm not going to say, no, that's stupid. That's not true. It's not true to me at this moment because I'm not there. I'm open to this. So until I experience it, I'm not denying it. I just don't have enough information to allow me, but I experience it. Once I experience it, go, okay, I can't deny that now. Then I can implement it because now my truth has just shifted. But I don't just say, nope, that's not true.
Right. Good.
That's not true. That's false. It's not true to me in that moment, but I'm open to experiencing something new. This is why I say don't hold so tight to your beliefs, because that will prevent you from moving forward. And we do that in a religious standpoint, from a societal standpoint, from a generational standpoint. And this is why we keep being stuck.
It is. It's the definition of being stuck, is not being open to looking at new things. Yeah.
Just be open.
Yeah.
Hold your beliefs until your beliefs change.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So,
have your beliefs until they change. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I do have one final question that I ask all my guests, because it wouldn't be the Laughing Through Life podcast if I did not ask this question, is this: what is one key, and I know there's probably a lot, one key to having fun in life, first thing that comes to mind?
So think back when you were 7 years old or 10 years old, and when you were all by yourself. What was one thing that you did all by yourself that you really enjoyed and really had fun doing? And do more of that today. For me, it was dancing. I remember I used to dance in my basement all by myself. I'd put a record on once I figured out how to play the records, old-fashioned records. Yeah, that's how old I am. And would just dance all by myself. And when I bring more dance into my life, I can't say I do it all the time, but when I bring more dance into my life, it gets me into my body, and I love it. I'm not good at it, but I love it. So we all have that something that's down, and maybe you're aware of what it is. But if you're not having a whole lot of fun, think back on what that was and do more of that. Maybe it was playing in nature, being able to stay outside all day long. We can do that now. We can go play in the woods. There's no people in the woods right now. Spring is here.
It's true story. And I can't wait for more sun here in the St. Louis area. But some people might be having sun who are listening to this right now. But
yeah,
it's kind of dreary. So I think that's awesome, because when you were saying a 17-year-old, I was thinking back, I'm like, what did I love to do? I'm like, I had an imagination. I said, no. The one thing for me was being goofy.
And that's your gift.
Being goofy.
Yeah.
Having fun, making people laugh, because I look back at pictures now, I'm like, I was never meant to mold into what everybody else wanted to be. I was always meant to be out. My brother used to say, he's like, you were always dancing to your own beat. And he said to me, and it was funny that he said this to me the other night, which is great, because now I can share that in my comedy, because I had to cancel my show because I'm going to be going to a virtual thing. And then I was at his house on this past Friday, and we were talking about the show and this, and he goes, Tony, I told you I don't know how many times when you were younger that you should have been a comedian. And I said, you did? I totally didn't. He goes, yeah, I told you many times. He's like, someone would say, oh, he's the life of the party. And he says, no, he is his own party. He should be a comedian. And I said, I've never heard that part from you. It's because I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I didn't feel worthy of it. And actually, that's one of the biggest fears I've had in stepping forward into this, is feeling worthy and adequate. And I'm owning that.
Yeah. And what will everybody think? That's my big one. What's everybody going to think? That's hard too.
Am I as good as some of these other comedians? And I've had, I don't know how many people tell me since I said I'm doing this, oh, that's so you.
Yes.
Exactly what you should be doing. Yeah, we see it.
Yeah. And when we're all doing what we're called to do, it just lights up the world. It just lights up the world, because we're all called to do something. It may not be something really great or not great, but it may not be something that's well recognized or seen. It could be all of being a parent or a janitor, or everything that you're called to do because it gives you joy. We all need that in the world. The nurses in the world, the doctors in the world. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. But so are the people that clean those places. They are just as important and just as much of heroes as anybody is right now. So I think that's the thing. Get in touch with what you love that's fun, and go and do it, and do it lovingly.
I love that. So kind of I just wrote down to this whole thing is, the key to having life is remembering the one thing that lit you on fire as a kid.
Yes.
And do that thing.
Yes. And do more of that. Very nice.
I believe, I think this is going to be the title of this episode too. this is where my creativity comes from, just from sensing and feeling and allowing it to flow inside me, and then boom, coming out. Remembering the one thing you did as a kid and doing that thing.
Yes.
Um,
Beautiful.
whatever lit you up, do it.
Yes.
If you can't remember, just go within. It'll come.
Right.
It'll come back to you.
Yep.
Remember who you were before the veil got put on you. Because it's shortly after 7 to 10 years old is when the veil really started coming down on us. That veil is where the ego was really set in, because all the patterns of the world were placed onto us.
Right.
What is going on right now in this pandemic is that veil is being torn. Wow, that's just now coming to me. The veil is being torn so you can remember who you are and get back to that.
Yes.
Because I promise you, the world, we are not going back to, after this is all done, we come out of quarantine, we're not going back to the way things the world is shifting. There's a new earth emerging. Everything is shifting. How we do school, how we do relationships, how we do work, how we do everything, money, time, all shifting.
Everything.
Love it. So how do people connect with you? Andy, how do people connect with you if they want to learn more about your work, if they really want to connect deeper, they want to learn this leadership tool on how they can connect and how open they are to receiving love? How do people connect with you?
So go to my website, sandytomey.com, sandytomey.com. I've got a couple options there. You can connect with me, get right on my schedule on my calendar during this epidemic or during this time. It's a complimentary 20-minute coffee chat with me via this Zoom for right now. If you really feel that we're energetically aligned and you want to go in and you want to do my love attraction factor, which was that energy leadership assessment and debrief, that is also on my website. It's $297. Go ahead and fill that out. I'll get you the quit or the assessment right away, and we'll set a time up to debrief that, and your life will change. You will know where you are energetically during this time, what's holding you back, what your strengths are energy-wise, and together we'll formulate a plan for how you can create the dreams in life and love that you want, especially in love, obviously. Yes. Being a love and relationship coach, yes. Yeah.
Because love is who we truly are, the deepest power of what we are, because God is love.
It is.
So that's who we are in our essence, because God is within us. So therefore we are gods and goddesses because God is within us. Right. And therefore we have that same power within, and it's about going back. So you hear about all this back in the 70s, right? The 60s and 70s, the hippies, and love and love and love. There's a true standpoint to that, and that's what we're moving back to, is this truest, deepest love of who we are. And it's love of self first, physical love, boom, being the love in the world.
Yes.
Awesome. Is there any social media that you want?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook mostly. Sandy Tomey, the Love Luminary. If you type that in, I think I can give you the actual link. You can find it from my website too. And I'm also on Instagram, LinkedIn, but I don't really do a whole lot on LinkedIn. It's more Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. For everybody who's just listening to all that, I will have, for easy access, all the links to this in the show notes or on YouTube if you're watching this show, so that you can connect with her very, very easily. So I'll have those in the show notes. Sandy, thank you. Thank you so much for being on this show. It was absolutely fun. Absolutely amazing. So powerful at the same time.
Yes. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for the fun, amazing work you do in the world, and for having me on and giving all of us a platform and filling our boring hours of now that we're home and going within.
And this is a way of connecting too, but it's the platform for everybody to share their gifts and talents. And that's part of why I'm doing this as well.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So stay tuned for the next episode. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Woo! Hope you loved that message. I hope it resonated with you. I would love to hear. So Sandy talked about at the end that one thing you did as a kid that lit you on fire, that lit your soul on fire. What is that? I would love to hear what that is. And if you're struggling with that, finding that, I would love to hear that too, how you're struggling and how I can serve you and help you figure that piece out. All right, if you haven't already, make sure you like, share, subscribe so you get notified of the videos if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to your favorite podcast player, make sure you're subscribing. Haven't left a review yet, leave a review as well. Also, if you want to be notified of all the lists of comedy shows that I have available, I'll have the link below so that you can go to that, make it easy for you to go to my website to see the links and have some quality quarantine. Man, I can't talk today. Have some quality quarantine comedy to help us laugh through life, laugh through this chaos and this craziness that's going on, whatever timeline you're on. And then so you can do that as well. And make sure that you are going over to YouTube and watching some of my comedy videos as well, if you haven't already. I'll have the link to that here below as well. And if you're already on YouTube watching this, well, then you can see the playlist if you're already a subscriber. All right, talk to you soon and see you on the next episode of Laughing Through Life. Make life fun again. That's what we're doing here. Make life fun again. Laugh more, love deeper, and live fully. Talk to you soon.